Welcome everyone to your round one multi-class mayhem here in Kyalami, first raced on by F1 back in 1967. The track is 4.5 kilometers long. We're going to see 16 turns, 9 to the left, 7 to the right. I'm Taylor and I'm joined by Jose Guzman. How you doing tonight, Jose?
Good. Excited for this multi-class race.
This is our first round, so it's our first taste on what we see here. We're going to have GT3 cars, GT4 cars as well. Big pace difference between the two, so we may see some blue flag by the GT4 cars get in the way. And it's not your ordinary hour-long race here in SRA. It is a 90-minute race, so how do you think that's going to affect the drivers?
It's going to be a really tough mental game, especially for the GT4 drivers as the race goes on with the GT3 cars flying past in certain areas. I think it's going to be mentally straining on a lot of those guys, especially if they haven't done a multi-class race before.
Speaking of certain areas, while we have time, do you want to just take us through some of those certain areas, key overtaking spots we should be looking at here?
Sure. So we got, in my opinion, I think turn 2 is going to be a high overtaking zone over here. Get on the brakes deep, take that tight line and then block off the exit into turn 3, and then just keep it going all the way down. And then another area that's going to be great to watch out for is going to be turn 10. Same thing, top of the hill, get a nice inside line, take the corner, or watch for a mistake. It's really easy to get that turn wrong. And then the other area that's possible for some overtakes, I'm going to say, is turn 12, 13 area. Again, a high braking zone into a tight turn, so it's fairly easy to push somebody into a mistake and get them to run wide and get a better exit and get back on power.
Indeed, it is. As we wait for qualifying to start, it actually looks like we're having a bit of an issue right now with the server, so this may have been a premature start by us. But either way, we'll run through it. If you're new here, I'm new here. First multi-class mayhem race, for me at least. 20-minute qualifying. First 10 minutes reserved for GT4, second 10 minutes reserved for the GT3. Obviously, we should see those GT3 cars go a little bit faster, but that doesn't mean a GT4 car could get up in the mix if someone has, a bad lap.
Of course, especially with the GT4 cars, a lot of the GT3 cars, what they do have to watch out for is the speed difference, especially in cornering. There's going to be a lot of patience. I know some people might get impatient, especially if you're getting chased down by somebody, but you gotta try to use it to your advantage. A slow car, ahead of you is a great area for blocking, especially if somebody's a little faster. You can force the slower car, inside outside. You take the outside move, but you get the exit correct, and then that car will block off the car behind you. Put a little breathing room. There's plenty of ways to play it out. It isn't always gonna go against you.
Yeah, it's going to be extra difficult to keep the heat in the car as well, as we are starting at sunset, I believe, so we may see a little bit of darkness kind of fade in. To the tail end of this race might actually favor the GT4 cars, who may be able to save their tires a little bit longer with the slower speed cars and everything. But I could be wrong. I've never touched a GT4 car in my life.
I believe they're also more fuel efficient, so
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot easier to do a single stint. Depending on again how they drive the car, as long as they're not overheating the tires and stuff like that. Especially with Cheetah, you get that wrong, you put a lot of heat into those tires, so it's something to watch out for.
Speaking of stints, strategy gonna be a big one here tonight. As we do have 90 minutes, we have no restrictions whatsoever in terms of pitting. You don't need to take new tires. You don't need to splash your car with a little bit of fuel, even though we probably will see people taking fuel. I don't think a car will last an hour and a half on a single fuel tank here. But
Yeah,
strategy's gonna come into play.
I mean it's possible to get an hour and a half out of it. The only issue I see with it is that um, it's a lot of time lost with fuel saving. So I don't really think it's a viable option.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe for certain cars. I don't think anybody's in the Bentley. I know the Bentley has a massive fuel tank, and I think also possibly the AMG has a massive fuel tank. So maybe the AMG might be able to make the full race if I'm not wrong.
Even then, I don't think they will go the full race. You hear green light go in the background. We still have 10 minutes to go, so don't get your hopes up just yet. Almost there, though. But yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to last the full race like that. It's going to be hard. I might even say that some people might be tempted to change tires once they hit that 50-minute marker. I know when we start doing the hour-long races in our GT3 class, the 45-minute marker kind of, is the big fall-off point for tires if you weren't saving properly. So maybe we see some strategy with tires get thrown into the mix.
Yeah, I think tires might be a really good option. But it really depends on where you are and what you think what you can do with it. If you have a great defense, maybe even with a slower pace, you can slow down the guys enough that you can stay in the high position, especially with that time advantage from not taking the tires. So a lot of strategic options to take here, especially with the free reign on what you do for pits and stuff. So it's going to be very interesting.
And you really, really don't want to come out behind a pack of GT4 cars if you are a GT3 car. That will slow you down, indeed. Wait for the free practice warm-up to kind of end. We still got a little bit of time there. Yeah. What other things might interest you this race?
I think, I don't know if right or wrong on this. I don't know if you could correct me. Does the Aston Martin have ABS?
GT4?
The GT4, that car does not have ABS. Do you know which one it is or no? Off the top of your head?
I believe the GT3 one does, so I am entitled to say, if you're correct, the GT4 car may not.
The Maserati.
Is that the car that D Watts is driving there?
The Maserati might not have ABS, so it's something to watch out for.
I do currently see possibly 2 cars in the lobby. We do have 32 people here. I don't necessarily know the full splits, but when we get it on your screen, if you see a box that has a blue stripe in the bottom right hand corner, that is a GT4 car. And if you see that on your relative coming up fast, you better get into the overtaking zone very quick. I also am noticing a lot of the D1 drivers are picking out these GT4 cars, whether that be for a challenge or just to show off their skills by overtaking D4 and D3 drivers who are driving GT3 cars. Just a little show off. We are still waiting for this timer to tick down. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We are working on them. It does seem like the server's going fine, though. I think we're just kind of stress testing at this point.
Oh my god, Hartman's flying all over the track, catching some air.
We could stream the warm-up, but, I mean, there's not really a ton of things going on here. We want to take a look here. We can get a first taste at kind of a GT4 car in action. They are a bit chunkier than the GT3 cars, to say the least.
See the difference. I think the GT4 car is a little better, a little bit of rubbing, so it's gonna be a closer race with the GT4 cars because they don't have as much aero advantage over each other, I believe. Well,
I am excited to see how late on the brakes people decide to take those cars, because we all know here rubbing's racing, obviously.
Of course. Trackalicious joining in on the chat over here. What's going on, my man?
What's up? Welcome everyone to the first round Multiclass Mayhem at Kyalami. We are just bringing you the free practice, so don't get alarmed if you see cars ramping over each other. We're just warming up everything. Oh, we are going into the next session, which will be, I believe, our qualifying. So if you are just joining us here, qualifying is broken down into 2 groups. First 10 minutes will be for the GT4 cars to go out, set their times. Second 10 minutes will be for the GT3 cars to come out and then set their times. Obviously, the GT3 cars will hopefully be faster, but you never know if a GT3 has a mistake, messes up a lap, not able to get a time in, so a lot of variables coming into play here. We are starting in broad daylight in qualifying, as sunset shall hit us towards the end of the race, and I believe, Jose, you may have to click escape then drive real quick on your screen, that picture-in-picture window. Perfect. So, out of the GT4 drivers you see going out right now, Jose, who's catching your eye right now? That you're like, wow, that person's in a GT4 car, they might tear it up.
I think Brodman's a pretty fast boy, if I'm correct. Hartman had a great race in D2. I know he had a pretty steady race. Other than that, I'm not too sure who to look out for in the GT4. I'm not one to race GT4s all the time, so I'm not too sure what the pace is like. Especially at Kyalami, I've only really raced the GT3 cars.
I am with you there. I haven't even touched Kyalami, to be honest with you. So
track.
It looks very fun. It looks very competitive in terms of the corners that we have going on here. So I'm very excited to see it, and I can't wait to get my hands on it when it comes over to the GT3 Division 2 side.
It's gonna be a fantastic race. Very hard, very easy to get it wrong, but it's so rewarding when you get it right.
Who we have in front? Eric Boardman, off to start his first flying lap. You're watching that in picture-in-picture window. Who's next? Can't see the number. Looks like a 664 of Mr. Greer?
Yeah,
Mr.
Greer followed by Hartman.
So on board with Mr. Greer coming into the first turn. As you can see, the big difference if you're not new here and you watch the GT cars, the GT3 cars, you can see they are taking these turns very slow in terms of how GT3s will be taking them up back on board with Eric, as he will be our first time setter and will finish the lap unless he invalidates, but you know, I won't say anything cast or curse or anything like that. They're just making their way around. There's people trying to get some heat into the tires. Just trying to set banker laps for the time being. Not necessarily going for broke here. After the, probably, I would want to say the first or second lap, we should see the cars starting to ramp up now that the track has some grip into it.
Yeah, the track's going to get gripped up, and it's also going to warm up the tires enough to do a nice little hot lap. See what they can get out of these GT4 cars.
Despite the early conditions here, the track is in optimum state, and it is a very hot day here in South Africa. 30 degrees in the air, 37 on track. That is toasty.
Well, yeah, that's going to be like a big role in tire management.
If you cannot manage your tires, you may be looking at a two-stopper if you're pushing constantly, but I believe people will try to stick to at least the one stopper to at least try to make it to the 45-minute mark with one set of tires. As Boardman crossed the line, 153.2 will be your pole sitter right now. Greer follows right behind him. Hartman follows behind Greer, and we're just going to go right down the chain. And I lied. Lee's going to take that top spot at 52.3. Absolute scorching lap from the Mercedes. And Yon coming in with a 51.9 from the Chevy. I almost said Ford.
That's the other. So it's just one. I thought there was two. There is two Chevys racing today.
There is three Chevys. 3 Chevys today in the GT4 class. So.
Oh yeah, 3 of them.
Gonna be fun to see who's on a screecher. Evan Kim, 5/10 up on his time. Not gonna set any scoreboards alight right now. He is still making up time, so currently if he were to finish right now, he'd be in 3rd place. Him rounding through these turns. really trying to use up all the track, all the curve he absolutely can. And I assume in these GT4 cars, since they are just a tiny bit slower, you can use all these curbs.
I think the GT4 cars tend to do a little bit better with a little bit of curves compared to some of the GT3 cars.
I do know if I take the Audi on certain curbs, I am not getting the car back. Exit curve of Monza, Ascari, not. Car does not like it.
Yeah, that's a tough spot because you compromise a lot with ride height to get curves, and then it's a big trade-off. So it's gonna be interesting to see how people set up their cars.
Evan Kim rounding off his lap now, nearly a second up on his time. Let's see where this jumps him up to. P3, 152.7. So the Chevy of Yoon holds strong, and keep an eye on him as we are watching Dromo now rounding off his lap. He's 7/10 up, now 6/10. Not the best exit turn you can have. Hopefully he's set up fine for the straight here. He goes P4 in that BMW. I just cannot get over the absolute size and blockiness. Yeah, maybe not blockiness, but the blockiness compared to some GT3 cars that these GT4 cars have.
Very tall as well, and that's different. Much different than the GT3 cars.
We see Kovic having the pull off, might be out of fuel there, so might have to refuel. He may be able to get around once more, but he's going to have to set those tires alight on that outlap. See a bit of cars pulling off into the grass. No one really making up on their time that much either. Greer's just only 3/10 up on his time, and that will only push him up to probably P7.
One does about 6/10 up on his time, so he should be jumping up to about P11. So it's going to be a good bump in him, and then Zayd is also going to improve by about a second at the moment.
And assuming all GT3 cars can obviously go faster than the GT4 cars, we should see a direct line between currently Yoon and whoever sets their GT3 lap times, but that never really happens in a perfect race, does it?
No, the GT3 cars should be looking to set about 141s, 142s is my guess, average pace for this track here. For the D1 drivers and stuff. D2, D3 drivers probably going to be closer to the 43s.
We will hope to see some pretty fast lap times. Lee making up on his time, no one else really. I wonder if the car's kind of gone away now. Nothing's really changed on track, so kind of weird. You usually see cars improving their time throughout the qualifying period, but it seems like these GT4 cars are not as. Sports ends up going off in the background. Don't believe he's going to be able to get another lap in now.
It's improving a little bit. It should jump him up a spot or two, depending on how much delta he can get in. But not too much else for jumping positions here popping out.
We're on board with Lee still 2/10, almost 3/10 up on his time. He will be able to jump Schwartz if he holds this just enough. Possibly can make up enough time to jump Rust and or Yoon, but he does need to make up 6/10. So these final turns are pretty crucial right now. He's not gaining in that turn necessarily. It wasn't the best of riding too much curve there on the apex. So Lee will stay right where he's at, P4 for the time being, and he will be able to go around one more time, but everyone that crosses the line now in the GT4 car has to pit. It doesn't look like Lee is gaining on his time either. I see Evan Kim 6/10 up on his time. Might be able to put his car in a pretty position. Go on board with him. Rounding off the final turn, that looks pretty clean. Taking this car to the line, nearly 9/10 up on his time. This puts him P2, 2/10 behind. Oh, Russ at the end snipes Yoon off the podium for potential pole. 51.5, 2/10 up, and now it's time for the GT3 cars to get out. See some real speed, or is Eric Boardman still on a flying lap, trying to set his best time, but not able to make up anything currently?
It's like Greer still out there as well for the GT4s. He's up on his time a little bit. He may gain 2 spots, put him about P8 in the lap. Well, unless he just lost some delta, so he may not be moving anywhere actually.
It's like, as I say, that Eric wasn't getting on his lap. He just casually gained 2/10 in one turn. Obviously lost a bit there in his previous laps. He is sending this car, whipping it around on these final turns. Needs to have a good last exit here. And it did look clean. Doesn't look like he got on the power early enough, though. So he will just cross the line and set himself in P7. Proves a little bit, maybe the hold off Greer, but Greer does not look to be improving his time at all. So our focus shifts away from the GT4 cars, and we shift now to the GT3 cars. Dominic Duran here in the Ferrari. Our first flyer, number 183. Or 138, I'm sorry. Kyle Miller, my own teammate. Couldn't get his number right. Taking the McLaren here, the Ghost Rider Racing Jordan McLaren, saying his first flying lap. So, Jose, oh, we got the GT4 cars done. Who you got your eye on GT3s?
GT3, Douglas Mitchell, he's a pretty consistent driver. The Honda's pretty quick here. It's I think it's one of the better cars here actually. So as long as he can keep it on the road and keep it down, should have a good race here.
I was told that Doug was going to be driving a GT4 car, and I feel lied to now.
You know, I think he ran away.
Ran
away from the challenge.
I had a counter ready to count how many passes people did on him, and I was going to rub it in his face after the stream. And then cry a little bit because it's better than me. As you see Doug Mitchell approaching Kyle Miller, who really doesn't want to ruin his lap time, but at the same time needs Kyle to get out of his way. Absolutely all over the back of that McLaren. Doug will probably have to back off this lap if Kyle does not get out of the way for him. I believe we are still a no overtaking league in qualifying, no matter what kind of class you are, but Doug does kind of move out to the side and let Kyle go. The current potential pole sitter, Doug, despite being held up by Kyle, does get a 43.6, and if we compare that to the top time of D4, almost, 8 seconds faster?
It's a pretty big margin. It's not a massive track, so it's still a lot of time.
Yeah. 8 seconds. If you total that up every lap, these GT3 cars may catch the GT4 cars a little bit more often.
I think it's gonna be. We got 8 seconds a lap now. That's for 15 laps. They should do another lap on the GT4 cars.
So every half an hour we should see maybe some overtaking, not bringing pit strategies into play or anything like that, obviously.
It's a good number to keep in mind though for when you do pit though.
Mm-hmm.
Because around the 15 lap mark you should be lapping the GT4 car, so maybe do some calculated math and see when between stints it's going to be good to pit if you are going to go for a pit.
But you don't want to pit too early at that 15 lap marker, because that is only 30 minutes in, essentially. Even less time, that might be 25 minutes in, depending how fast you are going.
Correct,
that
but
could signal for disaster.
30 minutes twice, so 2 stints essentially put together one, so an hour, hit within an hour. But do you want to do it the hour? Then you're at risk of being by the GT4s because that's 30 laps. That's twice you go around the GT4. Kind of put it where So do you pit at the 50-minute or do you push it past the hour mark for a little bit? It's gonna be interesting what they choose to do.
If it was me, and this is personally me, I would set up my car so I could absolutely turn and burn the tires and the fuel off for the first half an hour, 40 minutes maybe. And then I'm gonna fuel up, tire save, and watch Morrison drive off into the gravel and then go back to pits because he ruined his very fast lap that was actually a second up on, just like Brooks as he's rounding off the final turn.
Yeah, I think my strategy would also be high fuel, kill the tires, and then around the 65-minute mark, pit for fresh tires, lower fuel, get a push stint going for the final 30 minutes of the race.
See, I have the kind of opposite strategy of you. I would underfuel my car a lot at the beginning to try to make my car more nimble to move around everyone initially, then hopefully I can pit off, get behind everyone, get some clean air, and pull a ginormous undercut. We watch Brooks just last lap sending himself up the P2 of 4.25, almost 2/10 off of Duran. Both of them are up on their time by 2/10, so Brooks needs to find another 2/10 within his lap before Duran finds another 2/10 in his lap. Speaking of who's on a hot lap, Allen messing up the final turn a little bit. He was 6/10 up on his time. Looks like he had a little bit of wiggle. Definitely has a lot more time to gain there. He does only go P7, and we have just over 2.5 minutes left in qualifying. Not a lot of time here now, I'm thinking about it.
No, it's not a lot of time left. Race is about to start. This goes by pretty quick. Looks like the low 42 is going to be about pole position. Looks like there's not much improvement towards that.
Well, I can say that Brooks is setting an absolute scorcher, 5/10 up on his time. We might hit the 41s here, or did I just caster curse him a little bit? Didn't get the best of exit on that turn, but he will put his car P1 ahead of Duran with a 42.197, inching closer and closer to the 41 zone as we have some traffic right in front of him. Doesn't look like he will set another flying lap, but he can get around in time to set one final one if he has the fuel for it. And as we're talking,
a lot of drivers are going to come around to their final lap right now.
As we're talking, Duran setting an absolute scorcher. Actually had to back off due to a car in front of him. He was 5/10 up on his time. He was going to dip his toes into the 41 in that blue and pink car we see there just driving. Not really sure who that is. Wasn't able to get out of the way or is on a flying lap himself. That is Browning. Sawyer off, having to go back to the pits. His qualifying is done. He will sit P3. Morrison off, had a yellow. His qualifying will most likely be done. He is beached. He might be out of fuel there. He sits P9. Who is improving on the board? No one really. Everyone kind of just revving up their engines. Ken Miller coming down to the final turn, making up a lot of time. Nearly 7.5 tenths up. He will only sit P15 still, not able to improve enough to get ahead, and that will be his qualifying error. So he will stay P15 for the time being as Brooks sits on your provisional pole, but Duran is still out on his final hot lap. He does enough fuel in the tank. Let's watch him drive around this track. Hopefully he can snipe into the 41s.
We got Butler improving on his times about 5/10 up. As long as he can keep this lap going, should put him up to 12, so he could go about one spot up at this point.
We are seeing Duran improve quite a lot here, almost 5/10 up on his time. Brooks is also improving a lot on his time. It's 3/10. This is going to be a qualifying battle between Duran and Brooks here. Mercedes versus Ferrari power. Who can hit it? And at the same time, Doug Mitchell is up on his time about almost 3/10 as well. And the Honda, not enough to put him in provisional pole, but it will definitely jump him up to P3 currently. Seeing the picture-in-picture rounding off the final corner, Doug Mitchell does go P3 over the checker line. Ran storming his way through this field. Did lose a little bit of time. He is only 2/10 up, as Brooks is now 4/10 up, but he is gaining tremendously in this final sector. 3.5 up now for Duran. Brooks still sticking around to 4/10 up. If he holds it, he will beat Duran. Duran gains a chunk of time off that last corner. That was a very good turn by him, nearly 6/10 up. And he will be dipping into the 41.8 provisional pole. But Brooks is coming around, and he is 4/10 up on his time. Where will that put him? Taking pole right back with a 41.7. What a qualifying battle between Duran and Brooks.
That was a lovely final lap qualifying run.
Now we get to the long-awaited race. This race is 90 minutes long. If you are just joining us, go over a little bit of the rules. 90 minutes of non-stop multi-class mayhem action. Pit window is always open. There is no mandatory pit stops whatsoever, so if you really feel like it, you can go the entire hour and a half on one set of tires and one fuel tank if you can. Likely won't be able to see that. That's okay. We'll see what other strategies come into play.
It's gonna be a great race. Hopefully it's a nice clean start, especially with the GT3, GT4 cars coming in around lap, a couple laps. So hopefully everything stays clean. We have a great start to the race, and it's gonna be fantastic. Hour and a half of racing.
We are in it for the long haul, and at this point we will finish around 11:30 Eastern time. So grab your energy drink, stay awake for this one. I'm sure we'll have non-stop action, as I think I was looking down the list. We have some GT3 cars mixed in with the GT4. It might just only be the one Ferrari of McGuinness here slotted in P23. All the way up to P18 ahead of him is GT4 cars. Wasn't able to hook up the best of lap in qualifying. So he does have some positions to make up to get to his pack. We are looking at the grid here. Front action will be captured on the main screen. Back of the pack action will try to be captured on our picture-in-picture. We're sorry if we aren't able to capture all of the action. We are only a two-man camera crew here. But we will try to look at everything for you. Just want to touch on some of the blue flag rules here, even though we have two split classes. Sorry about that. As I'm watching Jose try to get his camera right to get this livery shakedown right now. Some people just opting for the black carbon fiber livery. I see other people designing their special liveries just for this.
I'm really liking this Burger King. It's making
I was about to say. It's definitely noticeable on track, I will say the least.
Look at this.
We have an anime car, obviously.
Nation, let's go.
Can't go without one, obviously.
Cartoon Network, Johnny Bravo, my idol, my inspiration.
Dexter's Laboratory there. I see it on the side. Some people just bringing in their GT3 series cars in here already. Others opting for a more special look. Watch the cars pull away in all their glory. Now's the time for you to warm up your brakes and your tires, because after this, it probably will be extremely hard to warm up, as we already see the sun coming down, and we haven't even started the race yet. Oh, but yes, sorry. I wanted to touch on some blue flags. So blue flags go as normal in terms of your own class. Don't overtake don't overtake, sorry. Try to stay as predictable as possible as a blue flag. If you're coming alongside someone in your own class, please don't fight them. Be predictable as possible. All the fun stuff that people hear in the driver's briefing that you, as a viewer, technically don't need to know. But if you are coming up, if you are a slower car as the GT4 car, you are allowed to take your racing line, but you should be predictable as possible. Don't want to cause a collision between the two classes, but there's a good chance we might see one today. I know some pretty aggressive drivers out there don't really like giving up blue flag positions. Let's see what happens. Let's see in the shakedown as we are rounding out this track. Everyone's lights are already coming on now. It's starting to get a little bit darker.
A lot of heat into these tires, so you get a good start. You know, get a good advantage over some people in the corners. Get your brakes nice and warm as well.
So I know we said. Sorry, go ahead.
Your brakes aren't up to temp. You're gonna go a little deep on that on T1.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully get some good heat into them.
Yeah, if you go deep here, you're going into the back of someone.
Oh yeah.
But as we say, tires are a big warm-up factor. I only just now started seeing Doug Mitchell start warming up his tires for the first time around the entire track. No one really kind of weaving around trying to get the heat into his tires. Looks like we are going double file now. We will be starting soon. I will be try to be capturing all of the front pack action for you here in the helicopter cam. Backpack action should be covered by my boy Jose in the picture-in-picture window as we see a car going to the gravel on the start. Not the optimal start for trying to catch the pack.
You know, he wanted to get a little bit of gravel in there, you know, more grip.
Yeah. That's how it works, right?
Yeah,
just in case it snows here in South Africa, we have a little bit more grip on the tires with the gravel, you know. We are coming to the final turn of the track. Everyone lining up side by side. We will be going green here any second now. I feel bad for the back half who may have to start on that turn. Front pack have not gone green yet. And we are green. We are coming down the turn one. Get through the bend. And we are through. Turn two is your first heavy braking zone. Let's see how all things shake out. Doug Mitchell and Duran side by side here. Duran's going to be able to outbrake him as Mitchell needs to dodge Brooks in front of him, but Mitchell's able to hold that inside. Going to try to fight him more. Not going to just fight him. He's going to slot back in line right behind Duran, and the front pack getting through pretty clean. Backpack looking a little bit wider than the front pack. His front pack all slotted in. Still side by side from 8th place and down as everyone starts slotting in.
Rest of the race fairly clean. I don't think there was any real incidents. We did have a little bit of dirt kicked up, so I think it was about 4 wide at one point. Through turn 3 or 4. So
we love to see that.
Getting the elbows out early, but it might be a little too early to get them out.
Let's see that as Browning actually went for the dive on who was that? Sorry, Browning was trying to hold the outside, and actually Volta ended up diving in and making contact, pushing him off the track, and actually gets loose himself later on. And now the GT4 cars are coming in to overtake some of the GT3 cars.
Yeah, it's a little, some people might be pushing a little too hard for the temperature of those tires. It's a lot of turns over here. It's really easy to get it wrong with cold tires, so maybe they might want to wait a little bit before they start pushing so hard.
You still have an hour and 28 minutes left, guys. It's not all won on lap 1, despite popular belief. Everyone seems to have slotted in line. There is a little bit of battling back here within the GT4 area. To see two yellows on the track, two cars going slow. Not sure what happened there. We won't get too much into the action, as we do want to keep bringing you some of the front pack action, as Anderson is just able to overtake Latufu.
Oh, it looks like Hartman just got a little bump coming out of Cheetah. He managed to keep the car on track, though, thankfully.
Good for him, as the front pack is starting to pull away from the back pack. That McLaren of Kyle Miller not able to keep up with the Ferrari power of Ken Miller. Miller on Miller action, if we can get there. I just watched a car go off into the grass in the picture-in-picture. Not what you want to see, especially down there.
He got a little bit of curb and ended up losing control on the uphill. Couldn't save it.
We are all kind of still in these little packs. Evan Kim having to fend off Yoon, both of them pretty fast, but Yoon is right there, 2/10 behind him. That could technically be a pretty big gap in terms of GT4 cars, and a GT3 car, that is a diveable gap in terms of my bravery.
There is, you know, like I said, a lot of the heavy braking zones coming up this hill here to turn 10 is a great overtaking spot if you can get the proper line.
So we are seeing Miller on Miller action. No, we are not. We are seeing Miller trying to take over Chan, who was not able to do it. But we'll just slide in behind the Mercedes. Hopefully this Ferrari power can give him enough of a boost to just close that gap down the front stretch. You do see him gaining a little bit going through turn 1, not really making up the most of the times. He will just slide in behind for another lap, see where he can overtake. Keep an eye on that battle for you if we can. The GT4 battle is starting to heat up, as Drobo going to start taking out, try to go for a Yoon here. Peeking his nose, might go for the dive. Yoon also just trying to take a defensive line. He's not going to give it to him. Going to slide in behind Evan. Dromo going up the inside, able to hold it. Yoon taking the outside line. He is faster there, but he will have the inside for the next turn, and he will hold his position. Dromo coming out the inside again, but not able to make it done. He's going to try to slot right back in line. Make sure he doesn't give that position up to Lee, as Lee is now trying to come up once that spot. Make Dromo pay for what he did. We are side by side here just a little bit, but Dromo looks like he will just go through cleanly.
Close racing going on in the GT4 as well.
We have...
Well, we got P19 all the way down to P23. All within a half a second of each other.
As you say that, Boonstra took a dive on Kyle Miller. Lamborghini on McLaren action. Boonstra sticking his nose probably where it shouldn't belong, clipping Kyle Miller's back end, spinning them both into the grass. Not a huge ton of time lost, but I don't know, that nose probably shouldn't have been stuck there in the first place.
No, that was a little too aggressive in my opinion.
Gonna shift our focus down to the GT4 here, having a three-way battle between Undo, Kovic, and Rodriguez. Almost going 3 wide initially, and they will just slot back in line. Undo leading the charge. Kovic is looking to try to get a dive, maybe off the front stretch, as we see positions switching here between Greer and Schwartz. They are battling the turn. It looks like Greer will come out on top of that battle, putting Schwartz in a very awkward position.
Did get a nice little overtake on the outside of Cheetah earlier on Sade. So he is he's pushing that car around the track.
Ken Miller going for the dive on Chan. Chan's holding that outside line. Got the speed. There is contact. Ken Miller is spinning, able to keep the car out of the wall. But as I say that, his front right ends up going into the wall. That may be some slight right front damage. Not what you want to see, especially at the start of a race. We aren't even 10 minutes in. There has been more contact than I could have ever imagined.
Great way to start the race. It's going to be tough to manage that with the tires and everything else going on in this race, especially for how long the distance we have. But if he can manage to keep pace and, you know, keep himself fairly close to the pack for, let's say, another 10-20 minutes, I think an early pit stop might be, you know, I'd be able to save his race, and he can push along all the way to the end from there.
I'm looking down into the GT4 area. Flinky. I have no idea. I'm so sorry. Car number 421. Massive damage to his front end. Still able to overtake this Ferrari. These are two GT3 cars back here. P33, P32.
We got Roderick's going down into turn 10, takes over Kovac, and gets the move done. It looks like he's going to be able to hold it down the hill. Kovac going to go back at him. Oh, he's going to stick really close with him, though. Might try to go for the move over here in turn 12, 13. Let's see what he does. I think he may have just dropped just far enough out of reach from Roderick's.
Just ahead of them, Side and Hartman having a battle up front. Hartman trying to make up multiple positions here. He's able to hold that inside and overtake at least one person. Gonna try to hold the outside here onto the pit stress. I don't think he'll be able to do it. So he'll just slot right in behind Side. Maybe we'll get the drag down the front stretch if he can get a good enough exit. Side, good defending by him. Make sure Hartman stays behind.
Kovac did get back in front of Roderick. This is going to be a great fight for this race. They're being very respectful to each other. It looks like they're going to go back and forth all race long, though.
As we say, back and forth. Schwartz and Greer at it again. Going side by side between turn 1, between turn 2, turn 3, but Schwartz will just kind of slot in. You see a yellow flag being waved by a fan. That's not an actual yellow flag. That is a fan yellow flag for whatever reason. I say that. Watts and Boardman now going side by side through a turn, and there is contact. Watts gonna get taken out as Boardman's just gonna drive off into the sunset. Watts trying to take an over aggressive move. It's not really the best overtaking corner, but you can get the job done there, and he's just not able to, and contact is made. We'll just have to swallow the pride and continue on that way. So we now see a four-way battle in the GT3 cars here. We have Browning, Miller, Boonstra, as Boonstra is now going on the inside of Miller. Can Miller hold it off? He is on the outside, squeezes Boonstra to the curb, and he's going to be able to keep that position, but giving up the position to Browning. So now Miller has to come back on the comeback. Lost a lot of time out the battling Boonstra on that inside curb. Really needs to make up the time to catch back up to Browning and Ken Miller.
Yeah, left no room over there. I mean, I don't know if that was a little too much. I think he could have left him a little bit more room on that inside, but hard racing, I guess.
Rubbings racing, and the car of Kyle Miller does look like they have some front damage as Browning goes off. This opens the door wide open for Kyle Miller here. Going right, not right into the back room, just kind of sniffing the cheeks right now. Might try to look for a dive on the front stretch. Might tuck in with that damage. Really wants to get that damage behind a car, get that slipstream to power him forward, as that hood looks like it could come up any second now. I say this, there's a side-by-side Batman and Sean.
Yep, I was just about to say.
All you, buddy, you got this.
Bad must look like he got the move done around that corner, though. Oh, but it looks like he lost a little bit of time at Cheetah. Let's see if he can get the car stabilized and get a good exit towards turn 1 and keep that position ahead of Chan.
Had slipstream down that front stretch. It is pretty deadly as Kyle Miller is off into the gravel. Has to give that position in the boon strat. Gonna try to fire off Botilla here. Not going to be able to get the move done. It is the BMW. Kyle Miller will just slot back in here, but leaving out, not really able to get that toe. He's just there. Lamborghini power will outpower the McLaren any day of the week, it looks like.
Durant and Brooks are coming up to a lapped car, Finkel, and it's gonna play a little bit into the fight. Who knows? It's gonna take change their line a little bit. They are so close going down and up the hill towards turn 10. It looks like turn 9 right over here. He just passed, heading up to turn 10. Let's see what he can do over here.
We do have people that have already pit. Sorry.
No, he doesn't go for the move. He sticks close to him, though. Let's see if he might be able to get something down towards turn 12 and 13. See if he outbreaks him or tries to go on the outside or force him to mistake.
We have some people that have already pit, most likely for damage. See, Kyle Miller is going as defensive as possible to keep this BMW behind him. but I'm not sure if it's going to be good on the front stretch, as that BMW will have the power and the toe. BMW wiggling side to side, looking for a hole to just get around Kyle. Not able to do it.
Oh my God, Brooks and Durant all over each other. You know, lapping cars, getting around everybody. Oh my Lord. A lot of these back markers starting to play a big role into this.
How many laps did we say? We said about 15 laps.
15 laps.
Oh, and as I say that, Botilla goes out deep, not missing his breaking point, giving up the battle on Kyle Miller, and Kyle Miller will just drive off into the sunset with that one. That is a free gap given, but that gap is coming right back for Bolta as Kyle Miller dives right into the pits, most likely to fix the damage that has been on his car. See Durant on Brooks here for the battle for the lead. Your picture in picture.
Makes a little mistake up the hill going towards turn 10. He's going to get a good run on him. See if he might take the outside line. Oh, he's trying to go for the switchback, and it's going to be a little too late. I don't think he has the power down the hill.
Might need to wait to the front stretch to see if that Ferrari power can outmatch the Mercedes, just like in the real life F1 currently, as that Mercedes engine is not proving to be good, as Rodriguez is getting into the mix in this fight. Blue flags taking a big factor here. Latofu and Anderson were having a good battle until the blue flag came in from the GT4 car. As he is allowed to take his racing line, he just has to be predictable, and that spelled trouble for Latofu.
Oh, and a back marker gets in front of Brooks. It's going to cost him the lead, it looks like. Oh, they're going to go side by side into turn 2. Brooks still has the inside line, so I don't think he's going to be able to I don't think Durant's going to be able to take it back from him. It looks like Mitchell's getting into the fight as well now. All over each other. 3 cars now.
There's a 3-way fight for first right now.
Durant does end up making the move in turn 4, I believe. Now Mitchell's all over Brooks.
Here, Brooks, you're not having a good time right now. You're cursing out that blue flag. So we now see...
Blue flag compromised that exit heading towards turn 1. Couldn't get any momentum going.
We see Kyle Miller trying to navigate GT4 traffic, as they are not blue flags since he had pit and finished his repair's damage. Overtakes 1, but he has a whole boatload more to go just to get back to his position. Now Latofu trying to see any way around Anderson. He is side by side going into the turn. Not going to make it stick along the outside, so he will just slot in, but he is right there ready to overtake. Front stretch is a perfect position for them to go right now, as he is behind Anderson all over the back of him. At least 2 tenths right up on him.
Got Yoon on Kim. Looks like Yoon might have got a better exit. It's either going to stay side by side a little bit down here. No. Kim keeps the position.
Tofu and Anderson back onto the front stretch now. Is that Porsche power better than the Aston Martin? Doesn't really look like it. So, oh, but he does move out to the side looking for a dive. That is a very hefty... Well, that is a blue flag. Hartman is in the way, it looks like. Nothing comes from it, as Hartman is just taking his racing line. That's going to set Latofu back a good bit, because now Allen is trying to get on Morrison. Not able to do it in turn 1. Saw some dirt being kicked up in the background. What happened there?
I believe it's near me. It was no, this is a different area of the track, but it looks like Miller got bumped a little bit by Yoon, causing him to spin around turn 8.
You're Kyle Miller. You're just not having a good race right now.
No, like we said before, back markers are going to play an important role, and you got to really time your overtakes and stuff like that around them.
We are watching Allen come up
We got Volta on Boonstra again. Looks like they're getting closer and closer to each other. He's brought it down to about 2/10 here and there. Maybe he gets some help from some of the back markers, somebody around here to help him get that overtake done. Looks like they do have a GT4 car ahead of them going into this turn. So let's see how that plays out in either Volta's favor or Boonstra's. And it looks like at this moment it might be helping Volta as they go into the braking zone. However, is he going to get a good exit? He does get a pretty good exit outside of the GT4 car, and I think he does push the gap a little bit closer, but not close enough.
And we are back in terms of on the main stage here. Looks like I missed quite a bit as some of the packs started to thin out, it seems like. Not a lot of close battles here.
More gaps did open up, but we're about an hour into the race now. Well, 50 minutes. No, I'm sorry, 22 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see if some people chose the light fuel for the first stint or heavy fuel. We're going to see a little bit of that information in a minute. I think a couple people may have chosen the low fuel, 30 minutes or so, and then pit, and then heavy fuel for the end of the race. Maybe some people chose for I think the more popular option is going to be the heavy fuel, though.
Most likely, as people do kind of want to extend their initial strategy first, as we see Schwartz and Boardman getting into the battle here, and it looks like a GT3 car is just going to come up in the mix of that, so nothing going to come from them initially. But yeah, we should start seeing these pits start coming through, and it looks like Chan now has to try and maneuver through this GT4 car. Boardman going wide here, kind of opened the door for Schwartz a little bit, able to hold that gap instead of getting blocked by some of this traffic. See, Boardman still has his turn signal and signaling that he will take the left turn up ahead. Blue flags being waved all around the track as we see Brooks and Mitchell going down for a battle into the final turn. Brooks looks like he's going to come out on that as Mitchell did not get a good enough exit. Mitchell's going to be falling back, bleeding time here. Kyle Miller in the mix as a blue flag now right behind him, and that is a GT4 car behind him of Rust.
Yeah, it looks like they did touch a little bit getting out of that exit, but they both kept it on track, so that's good.
If we can just kind of... I could not grab the replay of that. I went a little too shallow.
So there'll be plenty more to catch, though.
Oh yeah, because Mitchell has made up that gap already, and he's now back within 3/10. So we will stick on this battle, as this is kind of the closest battle, most relevant battle on track right now. But I do want to switch over to Yoon here, as he is only 2/10 behind Dromo, and in a prime overtaking spot as Yoon is going down on the inside, it looks like, trying for a dive, not going to be able to get done. Dromo is just going to continue on the outside. That's a good bit of time lost for Yoon, as a bad miss GT3 car trying to get away from Chan. They're trying to maneuver through this traffic very heavily. Chan not able to get the best racing line throughout there, so Badmus is just going to continue on his way. They will live the fight another day.
Good on those GT4 cars getting to the side of the track, allowing room for them, for the GT3 cars to continue. It looks like they didn't take too much time off of them. They didn't affect them that much. Not how it's played out for other drivers, though.
Nope. This multi-class is indeed Mayhem, so named perfectly. Good job, SRA admins, coming up with that, the double MM. As we have our first pitters, Ruzik and Roderick. What are they?
Like for damage.
Yeah, they look a little beat up.
It looks like they might be losing a little bit too much time, so they've opted for the pit to,
Get the repair, get some fuel.
Probably, if I were them, I would take the full fuel tank.
Yes.
And push towards the end of the race now. Great time, I think it's about time, with the early damage race in the race. Perfect time to get in the pits, get your fuel back up, and just do a recovery race at this point.
I would be very much surprised if they did not absolutely fuel up their car all the way, take fresh tires while they're doing this damage repair. and just see how much time they can make up. We see McGuinness not able to get past this GT4 cars in his Ferrari. A little bit worrying for him. He might just be stuck here back in P30. He is the Lone Ranger in terms of GT3 cars stuck back here. We are on Doug, Mitchell, and Brooks coming down to the final section of the track here. Mitchell just wants to get around Brooks, try to get his way up to Duran, but they are 11 seconds ahead, so it's going to be a tall order for the people in P2 and P3. As I say, Duran sets a fastest lap of a 41.9 as well. He is absolutely blistering. Mitchell on the back of Brooks, 5/10 away. Can his power outdo the power of the Mercedes? Honda has been powerful throughout the season, but it won't be powerful on this straight. He will just slot right back in. Maybe try to get him on the next lap. We'll try to keep an eye on that battle as well. Well, we've talked about small gaps in terms, but we haven't really talked about big gaps. Elephant in the room, biggest gap on track right now. 1 minute 20 seconds from P31 to P30. As obviously Ruzix, who just pit. That is a hefty gap for you to make up just for your next position. Your next positional win.
Yeah, but you got to factor in it's probably going to be at least 10, 20 seconds for a pit, depending on how much fuel they're really taking for the next bit of the race. So, you know, we're just going to push that closer to the minute gap. It's still a big gap, but, you know, a little more feasible. You know, 20 seconds is a lot of time, especially. But if they can, you know, keep their heads down, just push, and do what they can, they might be able to recover a position or two. Especially, some people might opt in for the damage repair towards the end of the race, especially if the pace is hurting a lot.
Boy, I've seen a few people already opt in for damage repair, and I think Mitchell is just going to take a back seat for right now as he's dropping all from Brooks. Not sure if something happened with him or not, but he is dropping back pretty heftily. But we are watching Latofu and the Anderson battle. Aston Martin on Porsche coming down to the front stretch. I don't think the Porsche will have a small enough gap to go for this dive, but he will try to tuck behind, grab that slipstream, hope his car can outpower the Aston Martin until it gets down to turn 2, but it doesn't look like that will be happening, so he will just slot right back in and follow through for another lap. Now we are seeing Otla, the BMW of 293.
I believe it's Botla and Boonstra fighting. They've been on each other for quite a while, but Boonstra's been doing a fantastic job keeping him behind and not letting him get ahead of him.
And a good defense as Dromo on Yoon here. Yoon on Dromo coming down the front stretch. So they will be side by side for most of this lap. Yoon's going to just slot in behind Dromo. Try to pick up that slipstream. Maybe he can go for the dive down in turn 2. But they do have the car of Miller in front of them. Nothing will happen on this lap. We will slot back in and see what happens. As Bola is not going to go for the dive on Boonstra. Boonstra going a little wide on that exit. Same with the BMW. They will just kind of stick together. Schwartz is now on Boardman here in the kind of the chicane part of the track, coming up on turn 3.
Not the best exit out of there.
No, it was not.
If you take that turn a little bit wider, you can get a fantastic exit up the hill and you can probably get that overtake done. It looks like they're both taking a very sharp exit to that. It's probably costing them quite a bit of time.
We are seeing these gaps kind of come alive now for people that have pitted, especially in the GT3 cars that are getting dumped off into the GT4s. It's causing absolute mayhem down there, as we have a 3-way battle in terms of Yoon, Lee, and Dromo, As Schwartz is still trying to overtake Boardman, and he will try to go for the dive here, but he's not going to be able to outbreak Boardman, but he will still be alongside of him just enough to hold that inside line for the next turn. He is still there side by side. The two go into this final part of the track. Inside line, the Schwartz. Boardman just tucks right back in, trying to go for a switchback here. Schwartz into the grass a little bit, has to recollect his car. Able to do it for the turn, holding that inside line. Boardman holding all the speed on the outside. They are still side by side coming into the last two turns. Schwartz just going to slot right back in behind Boardman. He will most likely look for a look on the front stretch. Schwartz all over the back of Boardman right now, trying to get the best of exits here. He is going to go a little shallow, might not be carrying as much speed as Boardman, but hopefully that push power can propel him down the stretch along with the slipstream. Boardman, for some reason, still has his flashers on. Not sure what's going on there. He just really wants us to see him. Schwartz dives out to the inside, fakes it, comes back, and he will just slot right back in line. Boardman took a little defensive line, but still enough to hold his spot. And they will go around again, and we will stick on this battle because they are right next to each other. Schwartz eating on Boardman, wants to get past him in this Porsche. This Boonstrom Bola is having a battle of their own.
Yeah, it looks like Butler just got around Boonstrom. Oh, and he goes a little bit wide. I think he still has the gap to keep ahead of him, though.
Schwartz still all over the back of Boardman, just trying to find a way to poke his nose somewhere where he can, and it looks like he might be able to do this. Boardman did not have the best of exits there. They are side by side going into the same turn they did last lap, and it's the opposite way around where Schwartz is on the outside now, but he will have the inside here for the next turn. They are side by side still. Boardman not going to be slotting in just yet. He is going to take that outside, try to hold it, and he does hold it for the time being. Schwartz still there on the inside, and he will take that position and just slot right in and block Boardman.
It's a great move, great battle between them. They've been going back and forth for quite a while.
That battle has been going on for a few laps now, as Schwartz is a little scared of it. Takes some more defensive line here. He's able to just kind of run out a little wide, carry the speed with him, but he should be scared of this next turn of the Chevy power on Porsche power.
But yeah, whoever gets that exit down towards turn one is going to have a fantastic run, though.
Boardman looks a little too far away to pick up anything, but he is trying to close that gap with slipstream. I don't think anything will come from this, at least in terms of a GT4 car. So we will leave these two for the time being. We will keep an eye on that gap. That is a good fight, as Ruzik, yellow, he is slow. Might have went off into the grass a little bit. I'm not seeing any damage on the car, so we can pick up, continue on. As Browning closing the gap to Ken Miller.
Romo, Yoon, and Lee all within a half a second of each other.
Jeez.
Romo seems to be holding that position, though.
If I've noticed anything right now, it seems like in the GT4 car you can make yourself extremely wide since the cars don't have that much speed, and they seem to be doing that pretty good on each other. And pretty good on the GT3 cars because they these blue flags are killing them.
Yes, it looks like the GT3 cars are having a really hard time navigating around some of the GT4 cars, and especially when they're in fights. Like I said, there's a great way to use the cars to your advantage, and there's a way where you just end up shooting yourself in the foot. So it's really about patience.
Just like Ken Miller's side messing up his exit corner onto the front stretch to allow Browning to get side by side and take the inside. Browning just gonna take this one through. Miller will slot in, try to keep with him. That is a raised hand in the air from Miller, as that blue flag really messed up that position battle for him. And as I say that, now Sawyer and Anderson are starting to get a blue flag of Hartman coming along back. This could spell danger for Sawyer because Hartman is right there side by side with him going into the last turn. Sawyer will take it. Hartman lets him go, but that gap that was 0.3 has now opened up to 1.1 seconds. So nothing will come from Sawyer in the Anderson battle.
No, he lives for another lap. Let's see if he can get that gap closed down and start a fight again, though.
And our good friends Schwartz and Boardman are at it again, side by side. Boardman still with his flashers on as well. Schwartz is holding that outside line side by side as they keep going all the way around this long right-hander. Schwartz still on the outside, able to hold the speed coming up to the inside here. Boardman will just slot in behind him. Maybe look for another overtake somewhere else. Same part of the track that they were battling in last time. Let's see what happened again. But they are losing time to Greer.
So he did close that gap back down. It looks like it's about a half a second again. It was about 2/10 a little bit ago.
Can't wait to see those two battle. Honda and Aston Martin. I don't really know who's going to win that, as battle between Schwartz and Boardman has to pause for a blue flag of Brooker, who is just trying to catch up to Duran but does not have the pace to. Duran is 12 seconds ahead.
Rand got that clear air and he said, I'm taking full advantage of this. I am not letting this slip away.
In that Ferrari, you can do that. Ken Miller wants to do the same thing here, trying to overtake Brauman, sticking his nose up the inside there, not able to get anything done. He still is only half a second away, so don't look away from him for too long. He will close that gap in that Ferrari. That McLaren does not have as much straight line speed as you would expect compared to other cars. And I believe we see one of our first top leaders, Pit of Mitchell, coming in for some fuel. Doesn't look to have any damage. Playing his strategy, so he might be one of the ones who kind of went a little bit lighter on the fuel. Now he's going to fill up everything, take a new change of tires, continue on.
I figured he would hold on for a little bit longer before he pitted.
Yeah, this will kind of throw him into a bit of dirtiness if he comes out right about now. There's a ton of GT4 cars around him, and there's another pack coming in the mist who just entered about to enter sector 3, I believe, but he is getting along moving. So he actually planned this perfectly, where he's coming out in clean air just right behind the number 711 car.
No, I think I may have gone for a pit in the next 10 minutes. I don't know. I think that was a little early. Who knows how it's going to play out, though.
Interested to see as we are watching Ken Miller on Matt Browning coming down the turn 1. Miller not able to get the move done, but he is very late on the brakes. Really wanted to go for it. Browning taking that defensive line and is working wonders for him, holding off Miller for that P11 position currently. But Miller comes out on the inside. Unexpected dive from him. They make contact and Miller actually spins off of Browning.
Big to see it. Hopefully he can recover the car and it wasn't too costly with the aero damage.
That was a very late break. I don't think Browning was expecting him to come diving in just like that. It was extremely late on the brakes. Very unfortunate for him, but you just kind of have to pick it up, get back in line. When you see him again, battle twice as hard. We're on the battle of Lee and Dromo, who have been battling each other for quite a while, and Dromo actually gets off onto the grass there, so he has compromised this stretch for him. Lee comes up alongside him. Still on the outside. They're still side by side through this big, long right-hander. Lee holding it, keeping up the speed there. He will have the inside for this turn. He doesn't break later. The later breaker, and there's Dromo. He's trying to hold the outside with that speed. Lee's still able to hold the inside. They are still side by side going through these turns. The stretch not proving to do anything. Still side by side as Lee will overtake Dromo, and Dromo is going to overtake Lee back, but Lee still has the outside line here, able to hold the speed. He's going to come up on the inside. Lee can dart over right now to the right to try to get that spot, but I believe he is defending. He takes that defensive line. Switchback maneuver from Dromo is going to be able to keep them side by side through these turns. What great battling from these two, but the inside still goes to Lee right here, not where you want to be. But Dromo able to have some of the speed to try to overtake Lee right away. Not going to happen though. Lee coming out to the middle of the track, out braking his opponent. Dromo trying to go for another switchback, not happening either, and they will just slot in and wait for the front stretch.
That was a great battle along those that back half of the track.
As they're battling, they're having a GT3 car coming up along behind them, the car of Anderson. So I think the battling will cease for the time being until this car can blow right by, which it actually just might on the front
That
stretch.
might be perfect timing because it looks like the GT3 car should have enough speed to get right past them without interrupting the fight too much.
I thought we were about to go 3 wide. Oh, and there's contact between Sawyer and Lee. Lee did not see Sawyer of the GT3 car, and he actually ends up spinning both. So that's Lee and Dromo's fight done. Sawyer probably extremely mad at that. Lee did not see him. Just parked it in the grass. Let's take a look at that from the helicam, as we will need to go back a little bit farther. Kind of an unforgivable move from the GT4 car. You need to keep your eyes everywhere, head on a swivel. If you see that car diving up the inside, you need to give it the space.
You know, you might be in a really close fight, but you always have to be aware of your surroundings. Just because you're in a fight doesn't mean you're entitled to the full track. But hopefully everybody recovers and gets back into position, and they can make the best out of the rest of the race.
Well, I can tell you Sawyer will not be back in position for a little while, as that car of, I believe it was Morrison or Latofu, one of the two. Either way, they are really far ahead right now.
I believe it was Latofu. Or, no, it was Tofu or Anderson. It might have been Anderson, actually.
Speaking of Latofu and Morrison, they are having their very own battle. Morrison just able to overtake that Porsche with ease. We'll see how he made it happen right here, and that is because Latofu went extremely wide, missing that braking point, and Morrison just able to take that one. But thank you, sir. I'll be on my way. We're seeing Schwartz now in the pit, one of our first pitters, I believe, for the GT4 car. It actually looks like a planned stop, at least, and not a damage fix. BMW Ebola coming up on Brown and GT4 car kind of getting in the way there. Ebola runs wide, but being late on the brakes, diving Browning. Browning's coming back for the switchback maneuver. He will hold it here just on the outside, but Ebola has the inside and the power to do it. So McLaren will just slide behind, but Ebola getting real squirrely on these exit curbs. Not sure what's happening with his car. He may need a new set of tires, and he runs deep again. Same with Browning, actually, who will try to get a better run on him coming down in turn 1. He has that slipstream, and that BMW is punching a wide hole for that McLaren to just drive straight through. He does stick his nose out a little bit, going to slot back in, think of it, come back out again. He makes this dive. He's late on the brakes. He has the inside. Bola still on the outside, trying to hold the speed, but he's not able to fend it off, but he's still side by side into the next turn, into another turn. Browning still able there, still side by side into another turn. Bola just going to concede this position off the Browning. What a good fight.
Fantastic fight. Latofu and Morrison are back in it again, and they're fighting for that position as well now. Heading down the pit straight into turn 1. Morrison's just too far ahead.
We are just now about hitting, we are a minute away from the halfway mark, and we have had a ton of action here.
And plenty of mayhem going on.
They named it for a reason, and there's still mayhem going on as Bola is coming up on Browning. Browning's going to have to be careful here. There's a GT4 car right in front of him. Bola recognizes that, trying to take him on the outside. That GT4 car still standing in the way. Actually gets in front of Bola, opens the door for Browning to be side by side right now. Browning trying to get the speed on. He will. Bola has to pull out and just try to follow Browning through. That GT4 car ruining the race between those two drivers.
Yeah, like I said, it's really hard, and you really got to time it. You really got to choose your lines properly. You got to know what, you kind of have to get in the mind of the GT4 car and seeing what they're capable of and what they can do. They're not as nimble with the aero, so it's a little harder for them to switch back and forth between each side of the track, especially in hard turns like that.
Bola had another mistake there, hitting the Sausage curve, actually sent him off into the gravel. So Not what you want to see. Sawyer actually comes back out, joins the fight after his pit stop. Probably a little bit of damage repair, refuel, get some fresh tires on if he wants to. Now he's on the back of Brownie, and Brooks has had a yellow. There has been a moment for Brooks. Let's see if we can go back and check that. Front end is just wide open for him. It looks like he went wide on his turn.
Cheetah might have caught him out.
Oh, he hit the sausage curb, just wasn't able to recover the car and went straight into the wall. We'll be repairing that damage.
Cheetah is not somewhere you want to be all the time.
Nope. But if we look, I believe 4 out of the top 5 people have pit, including Duran. Brooks is just gonna take a little bit longer there.
This is an opportunity for him to make a really bold choice, though. He can choose to not take the tires, take a little bit less time in the pits, you know, with the damage instead, and then try to finish the race on those tires.
We were having a 3-way battle between Browning, Sawyer, and Bola right now. All coming 3 wide right now through Cheetah. Not able to do anything with this. Sawyer is going to be able to take over Browning. Browning might be overtaken by Bola himself. That wasn't Cheetah. I lied to you. My bad. But Bola will just sit in the back. Browning will have to stay behind Sawyer. Cede that position. I believe in the background, if you were watching closely, Bola's car blinked a little bit at us. There might be a little bit of damage, electronic damage there. Sawyer's just going to pull away now. So fast in that Honda.
Honda's going down that straightaway. It is going.
Boardman now coming into the pits with the GT4 car. Bola.
On him, looks like he's probably just doing refuel on tires. What I'm going to be guessing.
I will say he is very persistent. He has had those flashes on the entire race.
Mind games.
That's how you get in their head.
Willing, or is he just messing with us? What is the F1? They're recharging the hybrids.
Exactly.
He's getting that extra power for the end of the race.
Not a lot of battles happening on track. Closest one is between Bola and Browning. Bola would be up on the back of Browning if he wasn't for these constant running wide mistakes he's been making in the BMW. Thankfully, that car has a ton of power to be able to make up time for those mistakes. But this McLaren just caught a GT4 car, not what you want to see. This opens the door for Bola. As Browning has to avoid Hartman. Bola now has to try to get past Hartman as well. He actually just decides to slot in behind the GT4 car, which is a weird move here, but he will be able to overtake it into the final turn. They actually go side by side through the turn. Unlucky for Bola, who just lost almost a whole second, but Browning did not have a good exit. But he will be able to hold that spot. Gap is now 1.7 seconds. He lost a second and 3/10 on that turn, going side by side with a GT4 car. Actually abusing these track limits a little bit. Take a look. Santos has a drive-through penalty for whatever reason. It looks like Latofu has a stop and go as well. Not what you want to see. It looks like he's going to be serving that right now in the pits. He was not going to be happy about that. That will put him back with the Millers.
Cost him a lot of time.
A lot of time indeed, but that penalty is clear now. All that's left is Santos's drive-through.
It's a lighter penalty, but it's still going to cost a lot.
We look down into the GT4 battle. Their closest battle on track, Schwartz and Hanik. Holding up 2 GT3 cars, it looks like, as well.
Really? Ted Kravitz? Not sure who Ted Kravitz is.
That was supposed to be Kish, I guess.
Oh.
Our Ted has left the track, going out for a nice meal. Possibly might not be totally functioning.
I'm here, but a bit tipsy. And some of the drivers on here are a little tipsy as well.
I mean, there's a reason why. There's a reason why the emote for this series is 2 beers clinking glasses as we watch Schwartz take over Hennig pretty easily into that turn. Hennig now just has to try to stay on the back of that Porsche with his BMW power, but it might not be good enough. Schwartz very fast in his GT4 car. Blue flags being waved practically at every corner of the track. Kind of insane. Think about it.
That's needed. If you want to come along and help us, you're more than welcome to hop in here. I just ask that you bring mozzarella sticks.
Yeah, we're getting a little peckish up here. It's been about almost an hour now, and you know, burning out as we see Bolta trying to overtake Browning again. The Bolta Browning fight, the double B fight, still going on. Nothing's happening from it. He slots right back in. Maybe he got a little PTSD from seeing the GT4 cars ahead. Bolta still behind Browning, trying to find a way, any way possible. Looks like we may have a bit of a pit wanderer down there. Billy, are you there?
I happen to be here, yes. Hello. Good
Welcome.
Evening. Good evening, everybody. Sorry for the delay, the dilemma of time, you know.
That is okay. How long have you been sitting here watching? What are your thoughts so far?
Seems like a little bit of chaos. I've only been here for about 5 minutes, but good to see that everybody's still alive. Well,
partially alive.
For the most part.
There's been a little bit of a little contact. We've already had contact between GT4 and a GT3 car. Oh, wasn't watching the way, but
hate that. Hate to see it.
Hate to see it. What, are you needing a video feed?
I think I'm good. I'm watching the stream. Yeah, I'm watching the stream.
Okay.
If you got it, you got it. If not,
oh yeah, I got it. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me get that for you, my man. And before my everything crashes again.
Again.
We don't like to talk about it.
Oh no, another technical issue.
Nah, we're fine.
Oh no.
We're fine. It's all okay here. Not sure if that is good window for you.
Looks good for me.
Good enough. And
perfect.
I want to add your name. So as you can see here, we're actually going to switch over to the battle of Duran and Badmus. Battle for P2. Looks like. Duran obviously pitting before Badmus, so Badmus has the upper hand here. Not sure if I've seen Badmus pit just yet.
Was gonna ask you what everybody's strategies were looking like for the pits. We're doing hour-long stints, 45-minute stints.
Well, I don't think anyone had a strategy to begin with. A lot of the time it was there was damage on the track. I know Kyle Miller had to go in because of it early, so maybe he might have filled up for the rest of the race. That's what we were thinking. We had the idea of people fueling up heavy for the first stint, underfueling for the first stint. Either way, we figure people are going to have a blistering stint compared to another stint.
Doug was the only GT3 car that looked like he took an early pit, not caused by damage. Other than that, everybody else, I think Doug and Duran took the earlier pits. Everybody else was slotting into the pits the last, 10 minutes.
I believe Duran took a halfway pit.
Was it at the 45-minute mark? Yeah, it might have been at the 45-minute mark.
It was somewhere around there, because he went in along with the other, top 4 people.
Yeah, Doug was at like the 55 minute mark, a little bit earlier. I think he was one of the first GT3 cars to stop.
Yeah, so very interesting strategies coming into play here, and just as the series is named Multiclass Mayhem, it's mayhem, to say the least.
I'd love to see that the race is turning out the way it's supposed to.
Oh yeah, lots of GT4 cars in front of GT3 cars during battles, and we saw it. I think it was
You'll get there, man.
Brooks.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got this. Jose,
Brooks, a lot of team
Jose.
names. So I was like, which one is it? It was Brooks and no, it was Brooks and Mitchell.
Yes.
And GT4 car was in front of Brooks, and he couldn't get a good exit, so he lost a lot of time, causing him to go side by side with Mitchell down in turn 2.
Been a lot of issues like that, as we just watched Ola having an issue as well with a GT4 car blocking him on the front stretch. Even so, in turn 3, he ran wide, flipped the grass. Gonna let Browning get away here a little bit, but he's just gonna be able to get all that back. And we see our leader, was our current leader, Morrison, finally pit. Looks like he's gonna be possibly fueling up. Maybe new tires, maybe not, but time for him to set some blistering laps, because he will lose a good bit of places here. Bill, you're a world-class driver here in SRA.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
We're starting to hit that hour mark right now, where normally that's where we call it quits. We're done. We have another lap or two. We still have another half an hour.
Yeah.
How do you think fatigue's gonna come into play here?
I guarantee you fatigue's kicked in about 15-20 minutes ago, at the bare minimum. So these guys are probably either have or are looking for their second wind. I usually look for the second wind at the half-hour mark, so I feel for these guys doing the hour-and-a-half stint. So, look. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, if you're like me, you have a Red Bull on the side, ready to go.
Some people don't have that. Otherwise, some people like I have a Prime by Logan Paul and KSI
Okay.
on the queue. So.
Good plug there.
The car already races when getting close and side by side. I don't need another Red Bull causing that thing to explode.
Yeah. It also depends on how involved you are in the race. If you've just been kind of running by yourself, doing lap by lap by lap by lap, or you've just been trading positions, that also is a fatigue on you. Shoulders get a little tired, wrists get a little tired, hands get a little tired.
How's your force feedback? Is it turned down, or you man up and put the macho pants on and race?
Yeah, that's up to those guys. For me, I'm a high force feedback guy, so I don't know about everybody else. I do. So
I love the high force feedback. I love feeling the car. I don't like
exactly.
Especially with the endurance, I'd rather feel the car the whole way. I feel it's a lot easier to move the car when you don't have the feeling, especially changing it up and stuff like that.
Ooh!
Ooh.
And there's collision between blue flag. Oh, three people done. Santos, who was falling behind Bola, gets taken out by the blue flag of, who was that? That was McGuinness, the Ferrari blue flag. And then going in the back of him, going in the back of Santos, I believe. Ken Miller, if I was not mistaken. Yeah, his car is banged up. See if we can get some kind of replay on that from Ken Miller's point of view. Coming down here, yep, the tap by McGuinness. Miller's
it looked like he just came down on him too early.
Yep. Not sure what happened there. Probably be reviewed by the stewards. So have fun, Kyle Miller, with that one.
A lot of similar names here.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
It's the same in D4. We have our commentator issues whenever the two Millers are racing each other side by side.
Possible issue with there being 250 plus drivers in this series. It's bound to have a name that's similar to another.
We have a few. I mean, on our leaderboards or scoreboards, as we have over here on our off screen, they come up the literal exact same. The only difference between them is their car.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets confusing, sometimes not. Just depends on how you look at. Just like we're looking at Brooks come up on Santos, fast car Brooks, who was having a battle for P2 earlier in the race, had a little contact and let Mitchell and get ahead of him, and he had to fix that busted up front
Go
engine.
side by side with Unda, heading down towards 12, turn 12. Now they're going switching back. Is he going to hold on to it? Looks like Watts still going to go side by side. They might go side by side into Cheetah. Is he going to back off? Nope. He's going to stay inside. And he clips the inside curb, but he keeps the car under control. Oh my God, that is terrifying. Anytime you touch Cheetah, it is a butt pucker.
I think that is the first time we've seen someone hold their car after touching that curb.
Yeah.
As we see, Mitchell got the door open for him on the Chan after a GT4 blue flag car was blocking Chan. So open the door for him. We'll keep an eye on that battle. Brooks and Santos still within 0.6 of each other themselves. This to be the closest battle on the track right now. Honda versus Mercedes Power. Who can do it? Guaranteed down that stretch. If you can close the gap to 0.3, that Honda will definitely close on you. Now in the 0.2 in the Cheetah. Doug looking on the outside of Cheetah. Not going to be able to do much
Switch back
with it. He's switching back. Not going to do it, but he will be there for the front stretch. He is looking for that overtake. Wants to get by. Wants to try to make up time to Duran, who may be 20 seconds ahead right now. Good exit by the both of them. But Mitchell looks to be getting the better speed out of here through that slipstream. He's closing. Gonna pop out any second now. There he goes through turn 1. Gonna head down into turn 2, hoping to be late on the brakes here. He does not outbrake Chan. Chan's able to hold the speed all the way through the turn. Mitchell there still on the outside. He's just going to slot right back in. Might try to switch back to get him back on the outside. Nothing's going to happen from that. Maybe he can get a better launch. Both of them in the grass.
Oh no.
And this battle is going to fizzle out as now Brooks is on the back of Santos trying to do the same thing coming up to the last turn. But that is a whole heap of blue flags right in front of them. So this battle might just fizzle out. I don't think anything's going to happen here.
No.
Brooks too scared to pass Santos. Santos too scared to pass Evan. Kim! All basically closing the door on the GT3 car as Brooks is going down on the inside, taking advantage of this. Kim just parking his car in front of Santos as Brooks going to be able to get the better launch. Santos going to have to try to find a way to slot right back in, but actually they're going to keep side by side here all the way down the stretch. That is four blue flags in front of them. All GT4 cars as well, except for Bola. Looks to be the only GT3 car. Brooks going to be late on the brakes here. Santos still holding that outside in the McLaren. It can hold that pretty well. These blue flags now coming into effect. Brooks actually has to dive out of the way of another GT4 car. Santos up in the mix. Brooks still holding the inside. Santos throw back in. There is a GT4 car that went wide. Brooks, oh my God. Brooks trying to get the slipstream from Flicks. As Unda slots
have nightmares today.
Oh
Every time he's side by side with somebody, he has a.
And Santos gets clipped by Unda. He's able to hold the car, but he's still on the outside of Brooks. You know, just slot right back in. That is scary if you are Santos.
That is scary if you're any of those cars, to be honest.
And now we're going to switch over here to Doug, who's side by side with Chan real quick. He might just slot back in. Missed the dive in turn 1, so they may just kind of make their way around. I'm still curious about the Santos Brooks battle. This GT4 car is still getting in the mix. Brooks getting slowed down a little bit. Santos might try to take advantage of this, but he does seem a little bit far behind here. GT4 car just trying to get out of the way of Finkel. Might have the speed down the stretch if he can just close the gap just enough to grab that slipstream, and these GT4 cars keep messing up Brooks. It is just not his race at the moment. He's actually going to go too wide with a GT4 car. Santos is going to get the better line out onto the pit stretch here. He might have enough speed to try to close this gap, try to get into the slipstream, see what he can do. But that gap is 5/10, so nothing might come from this. They might just follow each other around for another lap.
To be only 5/10 from that chaos is still very impressive.
They're practically fighting GT4 all around the track. You see Doug Mitchell try for a little shallow dive here. He is all in the back of Chan as well. Sorry to steal all the thunder from Jose, but this battling is huge on the main screen.
It's going back and forth between the Santos and Brooks and Chan and Mitchell. There's two great fights going on right now. Oh, and it looks like Schwartz is parked on the side of the road. I wonder what happened to him.
Sorry, you can't park there.
Mitchell coming up on the back of Chan, not going to look for the dive here. Was within 2/10, but getting a better exit, more shallow than Chan. That seems to be the whole story of that turn 2 for both of them. And Mitchell going to spend another time behind that bumper of Chan, just waiting for him to make a mistake. Might be given into the fact that this is a battle for P2 and no longer able to catch P1, who is 23.5 seconds away from Chan.
And the longer they battle, the farther he gets.
Exactly. So now we have a break. Jose, what's going on down in your world?
Down in my world, let's see. Santos is dropping down from Brooks, but Brooks is looks like he's catching Butler. So let's see how that plays out. Hopefully the GT4 cars help Brooks a little bit this lap and not like last lap where they pushed him back a little bit from the fight. But he is still keeping good pace with the car, even with all those back markers getting right.
It did look
Looks
like
I think he got a better run down the pit straight.
and he's actually going to overtake Bola here.
I think he is going to overtake him.
He can hold that outside line. That kind of can be favorable from time to time. McGinnis in the grass over here.
Like, doesn't really fight it. He does get that overtake done. Good on him. No more bad luck with those GT4 cars that time.
Brooks is just extremely fast. If he didn't have any of that damage, he would definitely still be up in the top 3. He might even be in this Chan-Mitchell battle, who's still being held up by GT4 cars now. Mitchell has a better exit than Chan this time. See if this gap can close. That Honda engine is going to be more powerful than that Mercedes. It is closing rapidly. Doug pokes his nose out to the outside. Through turn 1 they go. He's going to be alongside Chan. Can he be late on the brakes in the Honda? It looks like they are still side by side all the way through. Going to be able to hold that inside. Taken very shallow. Going to try to hold the outside, and he does get it done. Chan's just going to slot right back in behind Mitchell. Good overtake. Good way to take advantage of those slow GT4 cars.
You can call him Elmer because he stuck it like glue.
Oh my gosh. Who invited this guy? Good racing from everyone all around, as your closest battles right now is Santos and Bola and Mitchell currently, but that gap is now getting bigger and bigger between Mitchell and Chan. Whew. So, pretty hectic. We still have over 20 minutes left. Predictions, anyone?
Santos might get a run on Butler this going down into turn 2, and he does. Butler got a terrible exit out of the final turn.
Bolta has been making mistakes all night, just touching the grass and gravel, curbs, not able to get the power down enough as the night is falling more and more on this track, making it a little bit colder. Put it in perspective, we started at 30 degrees Celsius in qualifying, and even the race start, I believe we are now down to 26 degrees Celsius, both air and track.
And that's hard to plan for.
Yes.
That's a big difference in temperature.
Yes.
That's those tires must be freezing at this point.
If you definitely set up your car for the hot weather, you are no longer going to be driving on warm tires, as Unda needs to get out of the way for Lotofu, ruining his fight with Watts right in front of him. But he will try to close that gap back up, because Lotofu still has to go through him as well. All the gaps kind of fizzled out. We'll just check in here with Duran, see how he's doing. Yep, he's just clean, just driving around GT4 cars in that Ferrari, as he does.
He makes it look so easy.
It's a little bit easier when you're not going side by side with someone with a 4-pack of GT4s around you.
And 20 seconds clear, plus of the car behind.
Fair enough. So, 20.
He's safe. He's got this in the bag.
Essentially, I would say.
I wouldn't curse him. I would not curse him.
Nope, I'm gonna curse him. I'm gonna curse him. Want some close racing for the win.
Come on, Cheetah.
That would ruin him. That's more than battling. That's end racing.
Oh man.
But we are 20 minutes in officially now. But
20 minutes left. Correction.
You're correct. I can't speak today. Look, it's been an hour. It's been an hour and 10 minutes already.
Yep.
Do we have predictions? What's gonna happen? Obviously, we all know Durant's gonna win this one here.
That was going to be my bold prediction.
But down the track, we don't really have close gaps. We have gaps like 1 second, 1.5 seconds. Stuff like Chan and Mitchell, Bolta and Santos battle. I guarantee you, if that has a mistake, Brooks will take advantage and close that 20-second gap. What predictions are we doing? Because this is just for the GT3 cars. We'll get into the GT4 cars then.
Well, that's the...
So I think he has a chance to take badness fairly easy as long as the GT4 cars and stuff don't ruin his pace too much. Possible it's Sawyer? I don't think so. I think only one position really, and then everything else down from there is gonna stay pretty steady. But if he keeps making mistakes, I don't think he has a chance to get P9.
Anything could happen with these the track changes in temperature, the pit stops. Take an early one, your tires will be hitting that bridge of death. So it's gonna be about who can finish this race out with consistency, and whose car can make it to the end. So we will see what happens. But the top three, I would say, doesn't move. Would be my guess.
Durant, Mitchell, Chan.
That would be my final three, yes.
All right. Moving on to the GT4 cars, we're watching Evan Kim on your screen blocking Mitchell from even trying to gain any advantage towards Durant. He will just let him by now. But Evan seems to be dominating kind of the GT4 area, as Chan is now all up on the back of Kim, hoping to get out of his way so he can not close the gap. And I see a yellow on track. Bola having a moment. You can go back and see what happened here. It's missing that braking point off into the gravel. Luckily enough, he kept it out of the wall.
That could have been one of those inconsistent accidents that could change a race for a lot of people.
Speaking of inconsistency, I just watched him ride straight over that curb in the grass and missing his braking point again. Just getting out of the way for Duran. If anyone's going to ruin Duran's race, it will be another GT3 car, most likely.
And it almost looks like he's struggling with temperatures, either brake temperatures or tire temperatures. Just
I wonder if he didn't take tires. Has he even pitted? I don't think I've seen him in the pits.
I'm not sure.
I think the BMW might be one of those cars that has the 140-liter tank, so I think he might be able to make.
I think.
As he dives in, he dives in.
Is.
Yeah, that. I was gonna
so
say
is Duran.
Yeah.
10 minutes
Well,
left in the race.
when you got it, you got it.
I wonder if he didn't fuel enough.
Either that or his tires were on the brink there.
So our attention is going to shift back to Douglas Mitchell, who now can make up this time on Duran, who took that two-stopper. Duran is moving again now. But that gap closed more and more for Mitchell. It's now only down to 15 seconds. He is getting stuck in GT4 traffic. Again, it actually gets a little wiggly there. Out of the final exit, opens the door wide open for Chan, who's now 6/10 behind him. And Morrison behind Anderson is 5/10. GT4 is getting all up in the mix here, blocking Chan. Bola coming out into this fight as well. Too bad he is blue flagged for the time being. Morris on Anderson coming out onto the front stretch. So much more speed, just going to try to slip and get that toe. He's going to be able to dive to the outside. He actually chooses the inside here. Out, going all the way back to the outside. Big battle and big blocking from Anderson in that Aston Martin. Morrison going to try to take the long way around here. Going to try to hold it for the inside. All over the curb is Anderson on the inside. Morrison does have the inside for the next turn, and he holds it. Anderson will just slot in right behind him. Try to get him again later on. This fight is not over. As we were saying, all the action's coming down, it picks right back up.
Almost like it never stopped.
It is.
We just had a lap
Madness.
break is what happened.
Yeah. Took a
Everybody
few
needed
sips of Red Bull. It's fine.
Yep, everybody's good. Took that sip of Red Bull and we're back at it.
15 minutes left in the race, Jose. What's going on over there? I see you watching Douglas Mitchell.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if Douglas's pace is going to slow down by anybody else, but it looks like he's in clear air, but just can't seem to get that gap down between him and Duran. I was hoping get that gap down to at least like the 3-second mark when he dove into the pits, but it looked like it was just a splash and dash.
Duran's in the pits again.
Again?
Duran is in the pits again for some reason.
Did he not take fuel? Did he not check the box for fuel? Not enough fuel? I wonder what's going on with him.
Pretty big splash and go there. Looks like Douglas Mitchell is actually going to be able to overtake him here, and it's all falling apart for Duran.
Oh no.
What happened? He's now down to P3 and 5 seconds away from P2.
What's going on?
Looked like we just had a little bit of an accident there between Evan Kim and someone else. If we carry a replay on that. Kim and Roderick's coming up here. The Cheetah. All clean through there. Finkel coming on the back. Would just be trying to get out of the way for cars. Kim just gets bumped. Bumped by Finkel, trying to get out of the way. Wasn't expecting him to brake all that much. Kim does hold his position, P15 though. So, not a huge loss, but still a heartbreaker as that gap to the car in front, which is a GT3 car. He was closing a little bit. But attention kind of shifts over to Duran. Actually, no, our attention shifts over to Matt Browning, who is now in a wall.
And
What
it's
happened
also-
to him?
Duran's crushing the gap down very fast.
I would assume he... Ooh.
Grab understeer, it looks like.
Looks like he broke on the curb, just wasn't able to hold the car through it.
Something tells me that Duran was just shy of his fuel target.
Might be. It seemed like a very big splash and go kind of thing.
Yeah.
His previous stop was a little bit longer, which makes me believe he might have taken tires for fastest lap, but I wanted to see what would happen, and then he go back into the pits again.
Unless he took tires, forgot to take fuel, had to stop again to take fuel.
That would be unfortunate as the race kind of falls through his hands, but he did just make up about 6/10 on Chan, so.
He's knocked down a lot of that time.
Never count out Dominic Duran.
Never.
12 minutes left, so he has a great chance if he keeps going at this pace to get back and fight for P1 though.
Might have adjusted his tire pressures as well. Maybe he just wasn't able to get the grip in the car that he wanted. But 2 pit stops seems weird to do that. See Anderson and Morrison going through. Yes, is a bad miss. Trying to dive out Sawyer, but Sawyer's just going to be able to take that one nice and clean. They're going to tuck in together. Hold hands around for the next lap. As Duran has gotten that gap down to 1.5 seconds now. Something might have happened to Chan. He looked very slow in that exit.
I think their tires are not within the window. Because I think even at the halfway point, you can't calculate how the track temperature that much. So I think with that late stop from Duran, those tires was actually the perfect strategy with that huge difference in track temperature.
Yeah, but he still has to make up 3 seconds, even after he takes over Chan, just to get back to his position.
2 laps to make it on Chan, so I think he has a great shot at taking P1.
Chan will most likely make his car wide. Yes. He'll most likely want to make his car wide, but he is all up on the back of Chan, as you can see in Jose's camera. Just going to peek his nose out. Going to be late of the break. Does get it done. Chan looks like he's just going to let him through, but he's still on the outside. He's holding the inside now. Duran able to make that done, and he is now on the battle for Mitchell, and we had a crash. Morrison getting all out of wits in the last turn. Might have been some contact there with Anderson. They were in a close battle. With almost 10 minutes left, you kind of just have to pick up and go at that point.
No, it doesn't look like there's too much damage. It should be minimal enough to carry on and finish the last bit of the race.
That miss on Sawyer. 4/10 away, coming down here. In the sector 2, I believe this is. Well, I know you came in late, but thoughts on round 1?
Chaos or mayhem, shall we say?
Yeah, mayhem. We'll do that.
Mayhem, but exciting, very thrilling.
Yes, and I don't know. It might be next week. I'm not completely sure. But next time we will be at Suzuka, which should be even more chaos.
That's
But-
a tough track to overtake on.
Yes.
Oh, especially with the GT4 cars on the long straights.
Yep.
Yes, a lot of time to be lost.
It will be a afternoon race, so we won't see the dark on that day. So September 16th, you can catch that race live. Same place here, 9 p.m. EST, same time. And after Suzuka, we go to Spa and then Watkins Glen. So,
Watkins Glen is a great track.
yeah, there's got
Very
a lot
good
of
track.
places for chaos here.
Yes.
So stick around, follow the series, also follow the GT3 series Div 1, 2, 3, 4. Lots of action in there as well. Badmus just cannot close the gap to Sawyer, even on these straights in the slipstream. That Honda power proving too strong, but as we see a GT4 car get in the mix, this could open the door. Almost squeezes Badmus off the track, in fact. He has to take a more shallow line for that turn, but he still will be on the back of Sawyer. Sawyer just trying to defend off. He might be thinking this is where he's going to end the race. He is 5 seconds away from the car in front of him. Only 8 minutes left in the race. Is coming down.
Just a quick update on Duran. He has knocked that gap down to 2.6 seconds.
Yes, he is hauling.
We'll see it, and we're gonna have an update on the GT4 area as Hartman is right on the back of Unda, who got on the curb and caused an accident between Hartman, Russ, and Unda. Let's go back, try to get a replay on that one. See Unda coming here, just gonna be hitting this curve, flips his car up. Actually gets a bump from Hartman. Russ has nowhere to go. All 3 cars are gonna be spinning out here. Hate to see it this late in the race. Stewart's will be looking at that one for sure. And Chan is in the pits.
Now, is he going for fastest lap?
I don't think so because Anderson has just overtaken him.
Oh, no. I thought the gap
And
was big enough.
Here comes Morrison as well to overtake him. And Sawyer
Oh, no.
is now right in the mix to overtake him.
It was a fairly long pit. Is he taking tires by accident?
It looks like he might.
He might have accidentally took tires along with fuel. I think he might have been in just for the fuel to finish the race, but probably took tires by accident.
Well, this spices some of the battles up a little bit. Chan, if he is fast as Duran on newer tires, if he did take them, he can definitely catch up to Badmus and Sawyer with the way that they're kind of battling and slowing each other down right now. He's only 4 seconds behind him. Not a lot when you're battling. So he could open the door for P5, but that hurts to lose P3 podium like that.
It does.
And there goes my bold prediction.
Yep. You caster, we caster cursed 2 people, by the way.
It's only tradition.
We said Duran was off to the races. He was not. He had to pit twice for whatever reasons. Looks like Unda in the pits. Not sure if he's just gonna park it there. Oddly enough, I looked down our order, and you'll never guess who's last overall. The GT3 car of McGuinness, a Ferrari.
Oh, no. Is he still running or is he parked?
He is still running. In fact, he has a 48-second gap to Unda in the pits.
Rand has Mitchell in his sights now, locked onto that target. He has 5 minutes left about, so let's see what he can do. Mitchell's going to have to defend like a lion.
It's about to be within a second, and when that gap closes down to within a second, we will bring it onto the big screen for you. We are currently watching Badmus and Sawyer trying to battle out for P5. It looks like the pit stop for Chan is not working at all. He's actually falling back a lot more. I'll look down the list. Who is our biggest position getter? T. Greer, currently 8 positions gained, along with Finkel and Kovac, all in the D4 class. Out of the D3 class, max positions gained 3. Morrison, Badmus, Chan, and Bola. Badmus looked for a dive there, and Sawyer not going to be able to do anything with it. I also see Kyle Miller has made up 3 positions as well. As Duran is now in striking distance of Mitchell. We'll bring this battle on the main screen for you if we could get the camera on Badmus and Sawyer in the pip window. It'd be great just to keep an eye on both battles. Looks like Badmus is all over Sawyer trying to get it. And it looks like Duran is about to be all over Mitchell trying to get his P1 back.
It's about to get spicy.
He's coming down the stretch. He does have the slipstream here. Doesn't look like he has enough of the braking power to be able to dive that far. So he will stick behind Mitchell for another lap, possibly overtaking the middle lap when we get to Sector 3. Those are some tricky areas to kind of defend just before you enter Sector 3. As Duran, off in the grass, gets a little wiggly, able to hold the car and the speed. Stick behind Mitchell. This GT4 traffic now coming into play. Hartman there really been aggressive with the GT3 cars either way. Ran all over the back of Mitchell. Once by him, just over 3 minutes left. That's all he has to get this move done, and he's 3/10 away from tasting victory again because of some unknown pit reason.
Can't imagine what it's like in Doug's car right now, losing that gap that he had, the 4 seconds in a matter of 2 laps.
Oh, and Duran's diving up on the inside. Mitchell is still trying to hold the outside. He does have the speed. Duran's not able to get the move done. He was just going to stick there, slot back in. It was scary for Mitchell. He now has to go defensive for these upcoming turns, and Duran carrying so much speed. Not able to pass Mitchell, though. In the back, he's going to get him on the front stretch. He's actually going to try to dive. Squeezed up on the inside. Mitchell is squeezing him to the curb. Not able to keep him there. Duran still out in the lead. He's actually getting a tow from the GT4 car. He can't go anywhere. Pushes Duran out of the way so he can get around. Mitchell not giving this one up so easy. He does get on the inside of turn 1, but turn 2, he's on the outside. He's not going to be able to hold this position. He might just slot right back in behind Duran, but he's going around the outside. He has the speed for it. He's going to try to hold the inside in the next turn. He does get it, but Duran is just faster through that turn. Will Doug be laying on the brakes? No, he will hold right there for the time being. Duran back in the lead, along with clear air.
What chaos.
It's just clean racing there. We're our top 2.
We'd like to see it.
Did get the move done on Sawyer.
Now we will see Yoon trying to overtake someone in his class. Not going to be able to get that one done. He was within a 10th, might have just late broke, but we're going right back to 1 and 2. Duran is just pulling away now. 8/10 is the gap between him and Mitchell. Mitchell had it in his fingertips, had it in the grasp. Hate to see him just running away with it. Nothing you can really do about it other than trying to make your car wider, but just couldn't do it. GT4 is getting up in the mix. Watt is here now, trying not to block anyone. Mitchell in the wake of him. We have to compromise his line to avoid him, and this might just spell the end for Mitchell for P1, as Duran will most likely hold it. We are coming up on the final lap here of the race.
Dude's all over the back of Career. Going down to turn 12, I believe it is. the GT3 car alongside of Greer. It might compromise his turn a little bit, and it does. It pushes him wide onto the grass. Yoon might have a good chance to overtake him, and he does because of Greer getting on the grass. Greer, I'm sorry. Now he just has to hold it in perfect timing and the race.
We are on the final lap now, so anyone who will be lapped by Duran will have to finish the lap that he finishes. Once Duran crosses, everyone that crosses with him will finish. So Mitchell and anyone else who's lapped. As Sawyer throws up the yellow flag, he's in the wall.
Oh no. There goes a P6.
What happened? Bad exit onto the curb. Wasn't able to get the power down, it looks like. What happened?
Did he run out of fuel?
He ran out of fuel.
Oh no.
He is in the pits now. He probably will not finish this race at this point. That will be his position. So anyone who is on the same lap as him will be able to overtake him.
If he would have slowed down and let Duran pass him, could have slotted in there.
I don't think it is. You have to go all the way back around.
No, if he would have let Duran pass the finish line, if he would have slowed down for...
Oh. That was a big gap, though. He was crossing the finish line. Duran was just entering Sector 3, not even.
Yeah, Duran's making that last corner. Would have been about a 30-second wait.
But
one sector over a lap, I would have took that.
Duran does come across the line. P1 for him. Right
What a
behind him,
comeback drive.
Doug Mitchell Anderson, 22 seconds behind him. Not even going to do donuts. He's just tired. He's done. Back to the pits. He goes. He's going to bed. We'll see if we can grab him for an interview after everyone crosses the line. Anderson coming across here. We'll get E3. You see some battles still brewing as Boonstra is closing the gap between Bolta. We'll keep an eye on that one. Badmus coming across the line for P5. This gap has grown to over a second. Doesn't look like nothing's going to happen here. Everyone's just sliding in. Chan for P6. Brooks having a devastating crash, and Cheetah will come across for P7 as you see top left. Santos having a eventful race, to say the least. Lots of battling. Does hold his position from qualifying, unless he makes a.
Boltlock goes into the pits instead of down the finish line. He gave up the position.
Interesting. Not sure what strategy that would be.
That's called the P9 strategy.
At the end of the race.
Oh, he just goes straight through the pit lane.
Just reset. Or if you ran out of fuel.
To the pits, he would have been fine around the corner. What happened there?
Not sure. But let's see if we can pull our...
And he got a stop go 30. I think
that's going to be added on at the end.
no.
Kyle Miller.
Try to keep the position. Oh no.
I think
that's going to cost him a lot.
I think he will still hold that position as Kyle Miller is a minute 26 seconds.
No, but if you
behind him.
skip a penalty, I think it adds additional time. So if you skip a drive-through, it's a minute 30. If you skip a stop go, how long is that going to add on to his straight race? Or has it already calculated?
I would not know. I am not a racing steward. But that is your race. We'll see if we can get our... And it's just me and Jose here on your screen. Bailey's here in spirit.
I'm here in spirit. Yes, I am.
He's here in spirit. Let's see if we can grab Duran here real quick. And we'll grab Evan Kim, who I believe won the GT4, if I wasn't mistaken. What I am seeing. Dominic Duran. The man, the myth, the legend. Winning round 1 of Multiclass Mayhem. How are you feeling?
Spicy. I pitted. I did a drive-through and a pit to repair 0.3 seconds of damage at the end, so I could race Doug.
That
For
was
fun, I hope.
Mental games over here.
That was a very bold strategy. We were sitting here trying to think what happened. Just new tires, need more fuel, just doing it for fastest lap. No idea, but either way, you somehow pulled it out, got ahead of them. What were you thinking after you came out? Came out in like P4, I believe.
That's not what I had calculated. I thought I'd still come out in front of him. And I was like, I had an oh shit moment because I was like 8 seconds behind him. But he reassured me that I could do it. So shout out to Doug.
Well,
Shout out to Doug, indeed.
Indeed. Well, you got it done. Hopefully you can replicate it, maybe in more cleaner fashion next time we race at Suzuka. Thoughts on that track? GT4s and GT3s on it.
Is that next Friday?
I believe so.
I may or may not make an appearance. We will see. I'll be coming back from Mexico. So
Oh my. Well,
Suzuka's super fun. I have very limited experience on it, but I know it's fun. And I don't know if I could pull this same stuff off over there, but God damn it, we're going to try.
There's only one way to find out.
Exactly. Enjoy your win. Pop the champagne. Have fun in Mexico as a party gift. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, boys.
Let's see if we can pull our man, Evan Kim, who I believe won the GT4 section, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you're right.
Take it. Where is he at? He might have abandoned us already.
He's here.
Yeah.
He's here? He's here?
What's up, guys?
Oh my
Evan,
gosh.
Good to see you. Good to see you,
He
Evan.
snuck in.
Good to see you guys.
Congrats, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's nice to be in here. I don't know what happened to Patrick Rust. He was so far ahead. I don't know if he got tangled with another car or had a poor pit stop or strategy didn't work out for him, underfueled the car. But yeah, I started looking and I found myself ahead of him. P1, it's like, okay, just don't make a mistake from here and it should be easy flowing. And did what I had to do. Feeling good.
Great. Well, it seemed like the GT4 cars kind of played a big factor in terms of the entire outcome of the race.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, we even saw you, not intentionally, but definitely blocking some GT3 car battles.
Yeah.
How hard was it?
It's terrifying, man. They come up on you so fast, and by the time you even realize what's happening, you've already kind of found yourself in the wrong spot. And yeah, you're taking your line, and all of a sudden it's like, man, I'm kind of just on their inside or blocking the apex, and yeah, it's crazy. The difference in speed and cornering speed is crazy. So I was in general chat apologizing for those that I definitely messed up on. There were definitely a few of those that I could have handled better or just been a little bit more aware of the delta to those guys. But otherwise, no major contacts. I got ran over there from behind at the end. Had a nice little snake going, and I think we weren't really ready for the differences in breaking points there. Got a little worried about the lead falling from me, but thankfully, yeah, at some point, Rust fell down the order there, and it was enough for me to still cruise the way home. So,
Well,
good race. It was a lot of fun. It was a blast just being on track with two different classes like that, and it's fun being in general chat with voice comms and everybody's calling out if they're going inside or outside or going for the move on you. It really helps a lot, and it's a lot of fun.
great. Well, you got the win done for round one. Think you can replicate it in Suzuka next week?
We'll see. I'm really not good at that track just in general. It's one of my weaker locations. But we'll see. I'd imagine Patrick Rust, if he can put together a clean race, will be really strong there. But yeah, we'll have to see. I'll certainly try my best. It'd be nice to put it up here again.
Well, we'll be here again watching all the action. Evan, enjoy your win. See you back in Suzuka, hopefully. See if
Yeah,
can
thank
take
you
another-
guys.
Congrats
thanks for
on it.
taking care of the stream. I'm looking forward to watching this one back.
It is.
Thank you guys.
Is a
There's a
blast
reason they
and
called it
mayhem.
the Mayhem.
Nice.
Yeah, lived up to its name.
You did.
100%.
Perfect. All right, take it easy, guys. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah,
you
you
too.
too. All right, and I think we have time for just one more. Who do we want to take? Who really caught our eye today?
Let's is Doug Mitchell in here? See what it was like from his point of view.
I believe he is. He's in race chat 1. I'm pulling him.
All right.
See what we can do.
See what it was like being chased down by the race winner.
Might not be able to pull him.
Oh no.
Douglas Mitchell.
How are you, boys? Did you have fun?
We're still
we had
going.
a lot
buddy.
of fun. Did you have
We're
fun?
still going.
We're still going. You're in the interview, Chief, because we want to talk about what it was like fighting Duran after we thought you were pretty much done set in P2 for the rest of the race at the 20-minute marker.
Did he tell you what he did?
He did,
he
yes.
did,
He
yes.
informed us.
Okay, so I was giving him a bunch of trash talking, saying, "Wow, let's make this interesting, Duran. Being 30 seconds behind is a real drag, Duran." He's like, "Fine, I'll do a drive-through," and he does a drive-through, and he's still 20 seconds ahead of me. I was like, "Do another one. I heard you won't." He's like, "Fine." So he did it, and he's like, "I'm even gonna repair damage." I was like, "Okay," so he did. He came, I come out in front of him, and he catches me in 2 laps. I was like, "Come on."
Bro.
So
The
I'll
part he
take
left out was
I'll
the fact that it was you
go ahead.
trash talking him into it.
Oh yeah, I
That's
totally
the part he left
gave him a
out
hard
for
time.
us.
Yeah.
He played it out as it was his idea.
Exactly.
I'm gonna do
Oh
this.
no, I was
I
talking mad
calculated it.
trash saying you and I'll take my consolation second place, but my lord, did he sweep the field today?
Yeah. It was usually what Dominic does, so
He's wicked quick, and there was some banter in the race chat about how he was dive bombing left and right, and I thought I was trying to be really gentle with the GT4s, and he was slapping them around. So
well.
maybe karma will catch up to him next week.
Yeah, they were not gentle with the GT3 cars, I will say the least. But you get a P2 here this week. You think he can change it into a P1 next week at Suzuka?
If Duran shows up, no. But I'm actually really happy with how I did tonight. The cheetah always calls me out, and I avoided it this week. And the Honda was actually feeling pretty planted, so that was great practice for me and my new main car. So I was really happy with the result.
Yeah, you looked great battling Brooks at the beginning of the race and then having a few more battles throughout. So enjoy your P2. Hopefully you can replicate into a P1 next week.
Thanks.
Right.
And I have to take the admin hat and put it on real quick. I was super proud of the size of the grid we had. Equal parts GT3 and GT4. I think the group had a really good time tonight, and ultimately I'm looking forward to the rest of this series and for many more to come.
Certainly is a fun thing to watch. It's a fun thing to race. We will say goodbye to you now, Doug, and we will wrap it up here.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your stream, and thanks for coming out tonight. It meant a lot to me.
hey,
No problem.
anything
Have
for
a good
you,
night.
Doug.
Oh, you guys are too nice. Good night, guys.
Good night. Douglas Mitchell, everyone. Earn, admin, mainly
Caricature.
streamer. Yeah, he
Yes.
is a good guy. But that's going to be us for the night. Had a very, very, very long stream. Hopefully you stuck in with us. If not, check out that VOD and join us next week. Same time, same place, except we'll be at Suzuka. Signing out, Taylor, Jose, and Bailey. Have a good night, everyone.
See ya.